that was Yo-Yo Ma playing tango.
Yeah.
I started that way for two reasons. One, because it changes my brain chemistry. And it does something to my body, to my immune system. And that point I'm going to talk about a little bit later. The other reason I played it is because Side Effects is not just another book about breast cancer survival. I'm not insulting those who've written books on this, but if you go on Amazon, there are tons. I'm going to talk about the distinction of my book. First of all, I did have breast cancer. It is a memoir about a terrible year, and it really does talk about that experience. But it's also a love story. It's also a soft critique of modern ways of treating breast cancer. But it's also very entertaining, if I might say so. For example, in the middle of the book, the protagonist, me, has a dream. And the dream is about a musical called Tits the Musical. I hired a student to write a couple of songs. I was really serious about this. And I'm going to give you a snippet of one. Let me give you the backdrop. The chemo nurse. You know, in those days, everybody was in a Barcalounger, sitting there with their feet up, tied to a machine, giving us poison. And in came this wonderful nurse. She was an ex-cop. She wore camouflage shorts. She talked about her little dog. And she made us laugh all the time because we needed her to go to the bathroom, to wet our mouths that were dry, to get a blanket, whatever. So I wrote a song called I'm Your Bitch Baby. What do you need? Lollipop, Kleenex, gotta go pee? I can unhook you, 1, 2, 3. How about a laugh when the IV sticks? I'm as good as Vegas with my shticks. Cancer's a son of a gun, and chemo sucks. But for a few hours, I'm your bitch, baby. You're in luck. Wait for that musical. It might be off Broadway. Actually, it was inspired by a man in the 60s who was Timothy Burr. He wrote a whole book on the shape of women's breasts and their personalities. I do quite a scene of Timothy Burr. I called him Bizba. But the most distinctive thing about my book is there is a pun in the title, Surviving Cancer, the art of surviving cancer. I didn't have a village to get me through the process. My family was far away, my boyfriend was a little weird, my shrink he kept saying, you've been abused by your mother. I was saying, but chemo is so horrible. He didn't care. So I turned to art. I have about 13 pictures in here of the items that in various ways comforted me, distracted me, taught me something. It's a very odd collection. It's not your Rembrandts and your Picassos. It's funny things like a transgender Tibetan god and those slippers that the Chinese make that they put on mutilated feet of girls and women. These things really did get me through. Of course, the Yo-Yo Ma example is another one. So what happened here? When I wrote this book, I found my passion. I found NSA for one thing, because I wanted to tell everybody about the power of art to heal. And my beloved friend, Sheila, brought me into the picture. Many of you have helped me. this is an extraordinary group of people. So this book has been my way of learning what I want to do for the rest of my life. My distinction, Chris. What I know I want to do as well as I can. So, read it. Please review it. Tony, thank you for reminding people. Amazon, or write a few lines and just give it to me. Or go in my email. And then re-gift it. Re-gift it to somebody, not who has cancer. Or they could have cancer, but absolutely give it to them. And that way they're survivors. But anybody who's going through an ordeal, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I was thinking about? I love New York. When you go into the subway and you've had a shitty day, and then you hear somebody playing real good for free. Doesn't your heart lift like you do when you hear that tango music? So this is a way of teaching, touching gently on the point that beauty, wonder, like Yosemite, it will heal you and it will give you more vitality and you will live longer. Thank you.